All right, so I'm going live again. Let's see if we can get things going here. And it looks like I got Megan jumping on for me, so we're hoping we can get everybody going. I am not seeing anybody join in, so I'm hoping it's going to kick up, and hopefully you guys will get into it now. So just so you know, bear with me. I'm going to give me a couple minutes just so you guys can join back in with me. Sorry about that. I may not get to show my face because I'm not sure if that's what's causing the issue, is to have my face up there and just additional video. Looks like I got a couple people in, so sorry about that. Sorry we're having a few issues, but it looks like I have a couple people coming on live with me now. So I'm not going to share a video of me at the moment. If you've seen me in the past, my name is Kate Pyland. So we'll keep kind of trucking forward and give a few more minutes just for people to get logged in. So sorry for the technical difficulties. We are all experiencing those today. As we're giving our time to come in, I'd love to hear from you, and let's start this off positive, because you know what? I'm on. That's my positive. Share who you are, where you're from, and something positive with your week, because I definitely think we need to keep that in mind. My positive is my computer is working right now, and I get to talk to you folks, and this is really important to me. So thank you so much for your patience, and we have to kind of fly and make sure we get everything going, but share with me where you're from, your name. Let me get logged in on my GradeCam so you guys can show you that there, and something positive from your week. This, like I said, is a very trying time, so as positively as we can be, I am telling you, I am loving the flexibility that I'm seeing from my teacher friends and all the things that they are coming up with and trying, and then seeing things from my parent friends, the parents, you know, that have kids, and what they're doing to keep learning for their student as, you know, as a parent. And I think that's really an important piece. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to check in, see who I've got here. All right. So I know it is a very trying time, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time and joining us today. And really what this is group is about is supporting teachers and parents as teachers at this point with just kind of remote learning as we move into kind of this new normal right now, and what we can do to continuing learning for our students and everything to make it a positive experience for them, but you know, keep that learning moving forward. So that's really what this group is about. So kind of in the coming weeks, we're going to share resources to this group. We're going to do videos, we're going to do lives. So please, please, please take advantage of the group. You know, post out those ideas you have, tips, tricks, different questions you have, because we're going to be on there supporting you and helping you out as much as we can. So today we're really going to start talking about the student portal to help with those digital environments, but in other videos and other resources, we will share some non-digital scenarios and resources that you can use with GradeCam. We just thought we'd start with Student Portal today, since this was a big one that we had coming up. So please, you know, stay tuned to the group, because hopefully there'll be a variety of ideas and solutions. And if you have a question or wondering about what you can do, please post it to the group or the page. We'll be happy to answer and support you with those questions. Okay, so first off, like I said, today we're really going to talk about the student portal and kind of some of those burning questions of what we can do to move learning forward. And the student portal is a piece of the GradeCam that has been made available to all GradeCam accounts. So all accounts currently have access to the student portal for the remainder of the school year. And this is an assessment alternative just to allow students to have that access to their assignments online as well. And what's really a wonderful piece to student portal is it works wonderfully right alongside your current technology tools that you may be using, such as you may be using Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or Canvas Learning. All of those we can work right along with just to support you in your environment. Also, if you are a current GradeCam user and you have assignments, you can easily transition those to the portal. And if you have, or you're brand new to GradeCam, and as you're creating assignments, something to kind of keep in mind is everything that you create to use in the portal now can be used later back in your classroom if you want to go back to the more traditional teaching using paper and our great data pieces there. So that is a wonderful piece about the portal. Again, just a reminder that all accounts do have access to the portal right now. So if you have any questions on why you're not seeing something, you can reach out to us. So we're going to touch on those top 3 questions just to get you guys started of what maybe how you can go forward with the portal. So number 1 question is, where are those student login codes? How do you get your students logged into the GradeCam portal? So I'm going to show you that here, where to locate those codes. And there's a number of different ways to do it, but if you are looking for this for yourself as a teacher, the easiest way is to go ahead and jump into your GradeCam account. This is on the teacher side, and then you'll go over to classes. And then from here, I have a variety of classes. You can select to get them all if you want in one shot, but if I don't need all of them, I can just spot check and get those that I need right now. And then over here under more, hit student login codes. This will give you a document that you can print off to get those login codes. Now, if you're a single teacher license and you have a student in a couple classes, their login code will be the same. But if you are a single teacher license and you work with another teacher that you both are separate, you're not a school account, those login codes will be different because you're actually kind of separate. So just kind of know that if you're a school, you may be seeing the same. If you have one kid that has 2 classes with you, you're going to have the same code, but just knowing that login code. So what you'll want to pass out to your students in particular is what's that first name, what's the last name, and what's the login code. You can also download these as an Excel or in a CSV, and if you know some about like mail merge and how to pass that out, and we can help you with some of that instruction if you would like, you can download an Excel file and then do a mail merge and then send an email out to your students with their login code. That way it'd be more individualized to them. So we're coming up with some kind of unique ways about how to get that information out there. So there's your login codes. Like I said, just make sure your student names are spelled correctly because they may be spelling their name wrong to get it in there. I would like to point out is when you have students log in with that code, they do not need to create an account in GradeCam or at GradeCam. Those login codes are automatically generated by GradeCam once you put a student into that account or into your teacher account, just like if you were doing it with paper. The students do not need an account with GradeCam. They do not have to create their own account. So question 2 is, how can students access that assignment? So I'm not going to go through the nitty-gritty of how to create that assignment. We have some wonderful live webinars that we're going to link to you so that if you want to get a little bit deeper into more the nuts and bolts of how it all works out, we can. But we definitely are just kind of hitting on those high points that if you have GradeCam experience, how can you now put it into getting your students access to it? So it's very easy as capturing that link. Let me jump back over here to GradeCam so that I can show you from here how it is. So I jumped back to my assignments. If you already have an existing assignment in there, just click on that assignment or you can create it. And you want to be in the keys window. In the keys window, you'll see this button now pop up that says Student Portal. And once you click on that, this will give you your settings of which class will this form be sent to or which students will have this access. So you want to choose your class and make sure you hit add. If you don't hit add, you won't see it pop up down here. And then you can choose the window that it'll be available in. And you can go ahead and type in your time if you'd like. Whoops. A little off on my keys there. And then if I want to make this just 24 hours, I could change it for that, or I could make it for a full week. This is the testing window that it's going to be available open so that your students can take the test as they need to. Okay. Once you've got that filled out, if you see these 3 dots, again, that's just more options, we're going to grab a link. So if I hit my 3 dots here, and then I say copy link for sharing with students, that's the link that you can use to send your students to the student portal and to the assignment. So this is the part that if you already have Google Classroom set up, you can take this link and paste it right into one of those assignments, right next to a website that you want them to research, and then they're going to go into GradeCam and answer some questions about that website. You could put this again into Canvas. If you use Microsoft Teams, that's another way to put it in there to share it out with them. I even did back when I was teaching in a middle school, they didn't have Google Classroom yet, so I actually just created a Google Doc that was like my running announcements and class resources, and it was open to all my students to have that access. I just didn't have Classroom yet, and you could just post that link right onto a Google Doc that's shared out with your students and your parents so that they just can click on it and it takes them right into it. Now I'll show you on the student login page. I think I still got that open. Yep. So your student login back there, I showed you how to grab those codes or those login codes. You have your student first name, your student last name, and the login code. If you have students that have Google accounts, and this includes school accounts as well as personal Gmail accounts, they can continue with Google. So you only need that login code the first time. So once they input that login code, then have them click continue with Google, and this will associate their account with their email address. If you don't use Google, you just enter in that code, first, last name, and the code, and just hit login, because it'll sync to the Google if you have Google. Otherwise, you just log in with the code as needed. So that link that you have copied, oops, come back over here. So copy link, that's where you can paste it into that Google Classroom. They click on it and they enter in their code or connect to their Google account. Whoops. You can also attach documents that'll be viewed in the student portal. I'll show you that here in a second. So if you do not want to have students go through Google Classroom or somewhere else, so they don't have that, you can put some of those PDF documents right into the student portal so that it's viewed right alongside that assessment. It's really, really a nice piece. So question 3 is, what are the students seeing? Now that's really important, just so you can kind of help anticipate those questions that may come up or thoughts that you may have in order to how to structure your assignment. So I'm just going to kind of show some of those features that will affect the student view or that you want to take into account as you're creating those assignments. So first off is the assignment settings, what happens while the window is open and what happens after that window closes. Then PDF attachments, I told you we'd come back to that one. So how can you add those attachments right in there along with assessment? And then teacher feedback. The teacher feedback is by far my most favorite thing, and I'm actually going to show you a really nice easy form that you can create very quickly so you can get your kids started in Student Portal with no pressure of like what content are you throwing out there. So I'm going to give you that here in a little while. So let me bounce back over to GradeCam again so we can touch on what those settings are that changes what students are viewing. So I have my while available and after expiration. If I go into while available, this is that window of what do you want your students to see while the test window is open after they have submitted their assignment. Do you want them to see the final score? Do you want them to see the responses, incorrect, all correct? You can kind of modify those. That's going to fit the best scenario for your students and what you want them to do. There's lots of great ideas out there. If anybody has used the portal, maybe you can share some of the ideas that you've had on what kind of settings that you really like and how that has benefited your students. You also have the after expiration. So this is after that testing window closes, what are the students able to see? Maybe you bump up the access a little bit so that they're able to see all the correct answers so that they can study for their next test that'll be coming up later on in the week. So you want to at least know what was correct and having that additional information there. Again, just make sure you hit save so all those settings are saved. And then the next thing that affects what your students will see is in your attachments window. Right here, this attachments has actually always been there, but it's really nice to determine if you want what you want to show up in the portal. So if I click on that, I have the option to upload different documents. Now, right now we're showing a PDF file, so think about this as being a reading passage that you want your students to read, and then they're going to quiz on that. And we want that passage right next to their assessment form so that as they're going through, they can really, dig through that article and go back and forth. So you just you upload the document and just check the box. I actually have 2 documents here, so I'm going to show you what that looks like too. All right, so those are the settings on the teacher side that we think about. So what does this look like on the student side? So let me jump back over here. I'm going to log in as Miss Rosa Parks today. All right, so there's the closet creature quiz, which I was just talking about, and those different settings that I had put into place. So the student, she's going to go into it and look at it. She's actually already started this assessment. You can tell I actually wrote some things in here. I have my assignment over here, and I can adjust my window and make it larger so I can read my story. I have two documents, so one is the story, and the other one is the actual quiz questions. So if I open that up, and it brings it into me. All right, I can zoom in and take a look at that and said, what happened right after David went into Adam's room? So there's some multiple choice questions. I can have students type in their extended response to the questions down below, number 3. Let me scroll down, see what that one is. It really allows for still having those same various question types that you had in the forms. We're just putting it into the student portal right there to determine what is getting back that student response. I can scroll to, I've got a couple different responses here if I want to get those. And it's nice that that's right there, right next to it. We can look at it and go from there. And once I turn it in, I do have one unanswered question, so we do have some warning there. If you would like your students to have that, to make sure you train them to teach back what do you need to do if there's unanswered questions. I'm going to turn it in anyway, just so you can see what that looks like. And from here, so my settings were that they would get to see, they would not be able to see their final grade while the window was open, but I did want them to see which questions that they got wrong. Now on the extended responses, those are the ones that aren't graded quite yet, so we'll have to come back to that. That's why I didn't necessarily want them to see their final grade yet. But it is kind of nice to at least have those initial ones if they want to go back and review those. So those are the student view and being able to see that PDF. I want to jump over here, and we are going to talk about teacher feedback. We're going to talk about the teacher feedback as well, so that you can add some additional information into that response that's coming back to students. And I'm going to show you that with my instructional example that I want to give to you. So this is a student mood checker. And that's kind of where we're at right now with the strange environment and the different things that we have going on. Checking in with our kiddos and where are they at and how are things going for them. So just creating a very simple form, one, to see where they're at, and two, just getting them into Student Portal without the stress of, do I have to get this filled out and do I know the information? Just getting them comfortable. Also with that, we're going to take advantage of that by question button and the teacher feedback. So the form here that I want to share with you is right here. I already created it, but I'm going to open it up and jump over to the key so you can see it this way. So I created the by question, or the student mood checker by creating a multiple choice question, and I customized it so that I can have them, rate their day on 1 to 5. 1 being, yeah, it's not such a great day. 3, we're okay. And 5, I'm having the best day ever. So you could really customize those multiple choice. So if you had certain words with your kids that you knew that was important to them, like if you always did, are you sad today? Are you okay? Or are you awesome? You could do S, O, and A for the custom multiple choice. But it's just a check-in for your kids, and that's part that you know as well. The next one down here is I actually put in a rubric capture question, and that allows that more extended response. So let me open this up, oops, modify, and it lets me put in a question header. So this is where we can get a little more personal with those kids and say, share something fun that happened today, or what's most concerning to you this week, or again, like I started with you, is share something positive to start your day or start your week. But I can customize that header so that it shows right along with the question. In this example here, as you can see, it's down here, this is kind of how it displays. So they just see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bubble, and then they can enter in their text of something good for that week, and they hit turn in. So that's kind of what the answer form for the student view looks like. But when we collect all those scans, I think that second question is the one that's most important to me. So I'm going to check all my student responses that I have with the by question button. So I hit by question, I'm going to look at number 2, and this allows me to review what those students said, or so there's something fun. This kid slept till noon. Now that might be pretty important to some kiddos. I can scroll down and just view those as we go. I can respond back right here with that teacher feedback. It says, I FaceTime my cousin. I love FaceTiming, especially right now with how everything is. I am loving FaceTiming with my family. I don't even know if FaceTiming is a word, but we're going to go with it. I love FaceTiming family. As I go down, I can, again, check in with students. I saw that Pablo didn't write anything. I can respond to him if I'd like to. Even coming back up, let me show you. There's Rosa, and I'm going to feed back to her and say, I love playing cards too. So kind of giving that teacher feedback is showing those students that you're checking in with them and that you care about what their response is. And once I do that, I can also come back to some other reports, but let me show how that teacher feedback shows up for the student. So let me go back here. So I'm back into Rosa, and I gave her some feedback, and under turned in, here's her student mood checker. So she'd filled it out earlier in the day, and I'm going to check on it now, and here's my response. So this is what she wrote, and my response back to her is, I love playing cards, and I can make it personal. But this is also that check-in that if you felt like they had a big concern, now you know that you want to reach out to them. It's very personal and having that conversation. You can do this at the start of every week. Maybe that kind of customizes a training, or you could do it on Friday so you know what kind of teacher instructional materials that you want to develop for the next week. Just a real easy way to check in with your kiddos. I think that's important right now. Also, what I like about this is you're still collecting data, so I can jump over to my reports, and you know that number one question was a multiple choice, so item analysis is amazing for me to get a spread on my kids to see how they're doing. I can definitely see where they're at. You know, for the most part, we're pretty good, but I've got a couple here that I'm a little concerned about because they only marked it as a 2. If you want to break that down by student, I can go in here to students by question and look at it this way. And I go, oh, there's Pablo, he wrote 2, and Isaac. You know, I'm gonna make sure I do a personal phone call with them this next week because I wanna really check in and see what's going on with them. Again, that data is there for you to read it. You're not collecting anything for a grade. You're just getting the opportunity to talk to them. So that's kind of my instructional idea. You know, we encourage you to guys go ahead and keep posting those questions and even more ideas that you have on how you're using the student portal. If you're interested in getting more information from our live webinars, we do encourage you to check those out. There'll be a little bit deeper dive into the student portal than I did more than an overview here. So let me direct you to where some of those are. We'll post this link later on on the page as well. So if I go to go to gradecam.com, you'll see that there's all our resources for our student portal are actually going to be gathered here on this page, making it real easy for you to check in and get a variety of resources, both a teacher guide, a student guide, all those things that you can send out. But down here under the videos and webinars is you can register for student portal webinars. We have a ton of these being scheduled right now, and our support team is amazing. And these are live, so if you have questions one-on-one, you can check in with them and ask them those questions as well. So you can see we've got a lot scheduled here. Even if you're not able to make one of these scheduled times, please sign up and you'll receive a recording of the webinar. So don't feel like you have to make one of those times. There's lots of those resources that, again, they'll be available to you afterwards. We just want to help you out. If you have a specific question, please reach out to support@gradecam.com. and they will help you out as well. Again, you can post to the Facebook page, but you can also post here. So again, we'll share these links in the page or in the group after this webinar is over, or excuse me, this Facebook Live is over, but we wanted to share that information with you. So as we go forward, like I said, post your questions, ideas, tips, tricks, whatever you can do to help other teachers. We are a community, and we are excited to help you out as well and help you through this journey. I'd love to hear back from somebody. If you use the student mood checker or something like that, how would you change it, or how did it work in your classroom? That is something that I think is really amazing to look at. So awesome. We're going to wrap up, guys, and I hope to hear from you guys soon, and we will be back. So if there's something in particular that you're wanting, let us know.